You are watching AC Student Media. Brought to you by the Matney Mass Media Program at Amarillo College.
Thank you so much for coming today to the Matney Mass Media Wall of Fame presentation. And I'm tickled that you are here, and we have lots of dignitaries and lots of alums and lots of Hall of Famers. So I'd like to introduce to you Jill Gibson, coordinator of the Matney Mass Media Program, and let her take it from here.
We've been doing this for a number of years, and I think it's very important for our program to recognize people who have contributed to the media in the Panhandle area and to Amarillo College's program. And we're really excited about adding our two new honorees to our Wall of Fame today. It is a wall, not a hall, and it is too small of a hall with a wall for us to get together. So this is starting to sound like a Dr. Seuss book, yes. And if there were a cat and a hat and a mouse on a house. So in any case, we do want y'all to take a look at our Wall of Fame and admire the spot where our new Matney Mass Media Wall of Fame sign will be at any moment now, but not today. So before I say anything I will regret, I would like to introduce Panhandle PBS Senior Engineer Kyle Arendt, who is also from the Engineering and Production Department. And he is going to tell you a little bit about our first inductee, who we worked with for many, many years.
Good afternoon, thank you for being here. I'll start out with the plaque because I don't know how bad I would ramble other ways. So, come on in. Okay. Dave Coons can tell you the ins and outs of every major advance in technology that occurred at the KACV radio and television studios for 35 years. As a broadcast engineer for KACV TV, KACV FM, and the Amarillo College Radio TV Academic Department from 1975 to 2010, he was a key reason the station stayed on the air and students learned broadcasting. Coons graduated from Francis Polytechnic High School in Sun Valley, California in 1960 and earned an associate degree here at Amarillo College in 1963. In 1965, he received a bachelor's degree at the University of Houston and also passed the FCC First Class License Exam. What is that? He didn't wait for those degrees to get started though. As an AC student, he helped engineer AC telecourses on KFDA TV and KGNC TV. I thought that was radio.
That was KAMR now.
At Houston, he was the only paid student as program director for the university's KUHF-FM in 1964 and 1965. Back here in Amarillo, he worked as KFDA TV's engineering department from 1965 to 1975. He was KFDA chief engineer when he left for a 35-year AC career. As a radio TV department engineer, he helped produce local programs on AC's cable TV channel. The department used labs to produce local programming, including involving nonprofit agencies and covering public events such as candidate forums before elections. He helped broadcast studio and remote programs such as Jackson Street Live, the Amarillo Symphony, and the AC men and women's basketball games. He has told a lot of stories about the basketball games. Remote productions at such locations as the AC Gym, the Amarillo Civic Center, and Paladura Canyon involved removing equipment from the studio, setting it up remotely, and moving everything back to the studio. And if it worked after that, it was a bonus. He was involved in the design, installation, and operation of equipment for KACV-FM, which started broadcasting in 1976, and for KACV-TV, now Panhandle PBS, which began in 1988. Such as an automation system that allowed KACV to broadcast telecourses and PBS programming unattended overnight. We called it Davimation. While he was at AC, TV equipment advanced from analog black and white to digital, to color, to high definition. When he retired in 2010, the station was redesigning and reconfiguring the TV master control room, studio production control and editing facilities, and replacing that analog equipment with new digital equipment. Through all the changes, he was respected at AC and in the industry. In 1997, he was named the AC Classified Employee of the Year, and in 2004, he was inducted into the Texas Panhandle Association of Broadcasters Hall of Fame. He and his wife, Runell Rudy Coons, were married 44 years before her death in 2012. She worked in advertising and taught advertising and public relations at West Texas A&M University, where she was named Professor Emeritus in 2006. Their children are Courtney Van Wy and Kevin Coons. It is an ultimate honor and a joy that I present this plaque and this picture to Dave Coons.
Supposed to talk. I didn't say, nobody said anything about talking, so. Right. So I'm honored beyond belief. I really can't thank all of you enough. I worked with Jerry Webb here a number of years doing basketball games and sports programming that he did on the cable system for Channel 2. And Don Ford, who's over there in the corner hiding. So it was an awful lot of fun. We did an awful lot of work, and we had an awful lot of students that went through our department, some of which are here now. I was just noticing Walt Howard, and he and Jerry were just discussing some of the basketball that we used to do up in the press box of the gym. Those were some interesting and happy times that we had. So I really don't have anything to say other than thank you very much. Appreciate everything, and 35 years was a very long time, but it was an awful lot of fun.
Jerry Webb may be known to most Texas Panhandle residents as a radio voice, but in the 1970s he was obtaining electric typewriters for Amarillo College journalism students. Webb, a 1963 Palo Duro High School graduate and 1993 inductee into the Palo Duro Don Hall of Fame, had his first taste of sports coverage after he was dismissed from the Don basketball team. We won't go into the details.
It was unfair.
I think that was the same excuse that Pup Powell used for going into journalism. Robert Wiley, then a Palo Duro teacher, suggested that Jerry write sports stories for the school paper. Webb learned journalism from Wiley, who later worked with him at AC and is also on the Matney Mass Media Wall of Fame. Webb was the AC Student Publications Director from 1972 to 1978. He was AC's Assistant Director of Student Activities from 1972 to 1981 before becoming a partner in Graham Data Supply and Graham Webb Data Print from 1981 to 2000. He was an account representative for Southwestern Bell and AT&T from 2000 to 2010. For 4 decades, Jerry also was on the radio doing play-by-play and color announcing for more than 1,300 high school and college football, basketball, and other sporting events from 1972 to 2012. He began his broadcasting career at AC doing a Coach's Corner show on KACV TV. Alan Schifrin of KACV asked him to do color and later play-by-play for Badger basketball games. Along with Wall of Fame member Walt Howard and others, he also broadcast tennis, golf, and volleyball. Webb advised students who produced the Ranger newspaper and AC Current magazine, obtaining the first electric typewriters and building a photo darkroom. His first year at AC, the Ranger editor was Beth Duke, another Wall of Fame member.
You had a great time.
After being named Mr. Palo Duro in high school, Webb graduated from West Texas State University in 1967. He was regional news director for KGNC TV, now KAMR, and KGNC AM in 1968-69. He served in the U.S. Army from 1967 to 72, attaining the rank of captain, including time in Vietnam in 1971 and 72. He earned his master's degree at WT in 1978. While at AC, Webb was president of the Texas Intercollegiate Press Association in 1976. He was president of the Downtown Kiwanis Club in 1994. For more than 30 years, and I remember this, he spread joy as Santa Claus at the AC bookstore. I sat on his lap one day. He has served on as a board member of Paramount Terrace Christian Church and of the Jan Werner Adult Daycare Center. He was on the Tascosa High School Excellence Council 1991 to 95 and the Austin Middle School Excellence Council 1990 and 91. Jerry's taught Bible classes since 1980, most recently at Washington Avenue Christian Church. He also has done motivational speaking at area schools and other events. He and his wife Linda were married in 1967 and have 2 sons, Brett and Ben. Couple of personal things. My wife Kathy and I might not be together now if it wasn't for Jerry. He was our Sunday school teacher at Paramount Terrace in the Yes class, which was young, enthusiastic singles. We met in that class, which Jerry was a great teacher. I'm glad to announce Jerry as a member of our Wall of Fame.
I didn't know we were going to talk either. It was really funny. When I came back from Vietnam, I had been offered a job in the East Coast and offered a job on the West Coast. And so I told Linda, I said, we've been offered these 2 jobs. And I said, you don't want to move to the East Coast or West Coast, do you? And she said, no, I want to stay here with our friends and our family. So I said, well, I know Dr. Martin down at Amarillo College. I've interviewed him a lot of times. I'll go ask him if he will write me a letter, and maybe I can pass it around and tell other people that I know Amarillo, and maybe I can get a job with him writing it around. So I went to see Dr. Martin, and he said, yeah, I'll write you a letter. I'll do one. And I got home, and Linda said, Dr. Martin's on the phone. And so I thought, well, he may have some questions. And I said, yes, Dr. Martin, this is Jerry. And he said, come back down here. He said, I'd like to offer you a job. So that was how I got my job at Amarillo College. And it was, I loved it. I loved the people here. I loved all the things that we did. And it was a lot of fun doing the sporting events, because I got to work with a lot of students. And Skip, I'm sorry, Walt Howard. I knew him as Skip. Walt Howard worked with me. And, so it was a lot of fun doing all those things. And it's funny, being at the Jan Werner Daycare Center, there's a blind lady there, and I walked through one day and I was saying, how are y'all, how are you? And she said, Mr. Jerry, is that you? And I said, yes ma'am, I'm Jerry Webb. And she said, oh, Mr. Jerry, you made me so mad last night. And I said, what did I do? And she said, well, Paladura was playing Hereford, and said, you said the Paladura boys didn't even get off the bus. And I said, well, that was inappropriate. I shouldn't have said that. And she said, Well, they lost 40-0, so maybe they didn't get out. So, and Kurt Holdaway, Kurt and I have been many places together, and we've had some Globe News people with us, and they would ride in the back seat and write their story on the way home, and then we'd get to Plainview coming from Midland or somewhere, and we'd have to stop so they could send their story in. And but we've had a lot of fun, did a lot of things, and it's been a lot of fun working in radio and television and working in college. I loved all the college students. Beth and I knew each other 3 years ago when we were both 18.
That's right.
Well, I was 28, you were 18. So, but Beth was my first editor, and we had a lot of fun. And since he mentioned the electric typewriters, most of you don't know what a typewriter is, or an electric typewriter. But the class was so happy because I was able to get electric typewriters for them. They were just so excited that, oh man, I can't believe it. You got 5 electric typewriters and 4 typewriters. But we had a lot of fun. And then we built I went and got some plastic and some 2x4s and built a dark room in the basement so we could develop pictures and stuff down there. But we had a lot of fun, and we shared a lot of time, and I've shared a lot of good time with a lot of good people. And Paul Matney over there, your former president, his dad changed my life. And I knew Paul when he was just a 5-year-old, and he was running around the stadium and running around everywhere. But it's really been fun staying in Amarillo and working with the people here, because when I worked for AT&T, I had a boss come in from where was he from?
St. Louis.
St. Louis. And he told me, he said, Jerry, when I came in, I knew that I had gone to the end of the earth. He said there was no trees and the land was all flat. And he said, I don't know, I don't think I can stay here as bad as it is. He stayed here 5 years, left. I talked to him about 5 years later, and he said, Jerry, I want to tell you something. Remember I told you I'd come to the end of the earth? And I said, yes. And he said, I want to tell you one more thing. And this is what I really believe too, folks. He said, I was as close to heaven as I'll ever be when I was in Amarillo. He said, you people in Amarillo are just different. He said, you care about people. He said, in the other towns I've been to, people don't care about people. But he said, in Amarillo, people will do anything for you. And he said, people in Amarillo just love you. And I said, well, that's West Texas. That's out here west of Dallas, so we're just good out here. But he said, no, Jerry, he said, I've never been any place closer to heaven than in Amarillo. And I just think that's so true of the people here and the people that I've met. And I appreciate Dr. Martin offering me a job here at Amarillo College so I can stay here. And Mike, here I've got a little deal to give you. That was from 1950, and and I don't know, back in the old days when they had, that was the way they stamped the newspapers. They put them all in a slot and ran paper over it, but
I've read about that.
Your great-grandmother would have known. But I thought y'all might like to have that. I found that when I was here, and I took it home, put it in one of my one of my window deals of things that I gathered over the years, and I just thought that Emerald College ought to have that back.
We appreciate it, yeah.
But anyway, what does it say?
Well, I
Did you read
can't
it?
read backwards. Used in Amarillo College newspaper, 1950s.
Yeah, but what is that?
STRENG, strength for these days.
Yeah.
Great.
So, we all have to. And again, thank you for the honor. I feel very, very honored. And thank you.
We want to thank all of you who came to celebrate these two gentlemen, and it is encouraging and exciting to hear stories about Amarillo College and the students and the media so long ago, and then to see them now and see that that same spirit of fun and entrepreneurship continues. So it's exciting, and I think we'll do this again next year.
Jill, may I tell two quick stories about each of these gentlemen? I love AC stories. I'll try to make it short. But you could not have chosen two more deserving, outstanding gentlemen than these folks. And so kudos to you, and congratulations to both of you. Outstanding gentlemen. I remember Dave being on the engineering staff, and he talked about doing those basketball games. You know, we'd do the women's game, and then we'd fill between games, and we'd do the men's game. We'd fill at halftime with student-related materials. And so, but every morning of the game, the engineers would have to move all the camera control racks over to Badger Gym, what is now Carter Gym, and hook them up. Of course, students did interviews, and Jerry and Kurt and others did play-by-play. But there was a big junior college tournament every Thanksgiving weekend. Do you remember that? And we had never televised that, but it finally was going to be at Amarillo College. So I convinced my boss, Joyce Harry. I said, Joyce, listen, we need to televise that Thanksgiving weekend tournament. She said, that's Thanksgiving. We're off Thursday and Friday, you know. Yeah, but it's a really good tournament. There's some good teams in here. She agreed to do it. Well, guess what? Saturday, Amarillo College is playing. Guess what it does? It dumps about 8 inches of snow. So we're up there Saturday morning shoveling snow. Dave, Don, everyone shoveling snow to run those camera control units over to Badger Chin so we could do that game. I don't think those guys ever forgave. I know Joyce Harry never. But the great thing about Dave is he loved working around students. Don did too. We had an engineering staff that was not just all about running a cable TV station and then a PBS station in 1998. They realized the importance of integrating students and giving them opportunities. And Jerry, there was a time when Jerry Webb was Mr. AC. And we crossed over only a couple of years, Jerry, but in his role as student activities director and journalism and working with Beth and others, he was the face of Amarillo College. And I tell you what, Jerry, somewhere up in heaven, I think in heaven, Tom Gilly regrets cutting you from the calendar. Jerry Webb has spent more time influencing young people throughout his entire life. And you've seen him in your churches, you've seen him in the schools, and what a wonderful example. Both of these gentlemen, role models. So my congratulations to both of you, and it's sure good to see all of you here. You mean so much to this program.
Thank you.
I'm gonna put this right here for anybody who wants to look at it a little closer.
Please make yourselves at home. Feel free to wander around the department. Get some work done, grade something for me.